Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening, Dr. Reed.
Can you tell me anything about recent events at the hospital?
Before the shouts and the noises, I think I heard whispers coming from the stairs. 2 voices, maybe more.
Did you recognize the voices? What did they say?
I couldn't hear. Sounded like they were arguing or something.
Soldier, do you need assistance?
Not really. I think I caught something in this bloody hospital. I swear I'm dead, yet smiling inside, Dr. Reed.
As long as you remain here, I will make sure you don't have to worry about your health.
Don't think you can do much about it. Damage is done.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Fear and disgust on every street corner. The daily routine.
I have wasted too much energy for...
What on earth happened here?
That's Pembroke nowadays.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
Everybody's afraid. Death has always been a frequent visitor. But murder? How can we cope with that?
As a nurse at this hospital, it is your duty to deal with these things as best you can.
Yeah. Until it's my turn to have blood spread all over the walls. I entered the room first, Dr. Reed. I've seen what that monster did to the woman.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
Nothing like this would have happened if we'd had enough staff and proper shifts.
So you don't think the blame is ours?
We all hold fast here, Dr. Reed. Our methods may differ, but we are all trying to make a difference.
Do you need my assistance?
Don't be ridiculous. I'm capable of dealing with this myself. I've just not taken the time to do so.
Then you are lucky that I have taken the time to do so. Consider it a gesture of solidarity between professionals.
I wish this hospital could have received as much attention from you, Dr. Reed. We do not see you in surgery very often.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
Reads me like a book.
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
Is there anything else that's bothering you? Can I help in any way?
Really? Why has no one else asked me that since I got here? I thought I was in a hospital.
Unfortunately, you are not the only person who needs help. And complaining about it won't do you any good.
Well, perhaps you're right, Dr. Reed. I'm sure if me missus was still alive, she wouldn't be happy with me going on like this.
Please, tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital.
I heard Miss Jones call for help from her bedroom. There were some loud noises, like people fighting. All of a sudden, it went quiet. And then a nurse started screaming.
Do you know who the nurse was?
Not sure, but I think it was Nurse Hawkins.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
You always knew the words to calm the children, Ellen. As for me, what a blow.
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, Doctor.
Do you require medical attention as well, Mrs. Goswick?
Do you know you're the only one who's asked me this? No, I don't feel well, actually.
Despite what you think about this place, I can tell you with absolute certainty, taking this will help you. you recover.
Well, at least your reputation seems well deserved. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for this hospital.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
It's a disgrace. How on earth can patients be attacked in their own rooms?
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick. Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
Your mother won't let you down, Mortimer. Don't you share her hope for a better future?
No. I don't.
Won't you even try?
Do you want me to promise you I'll get better? Do you want me to tell her the same thing? I could, but it would not change anything.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
I had shouting coming from the first floor. I was asleep when it started.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
I'm alright. Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Such a pleasure to see you again.
Do you need medical attention?
Well, the proximity of the dead is not the most healthy company, even if the quiet can be appreciated.
Don't take too many risks with your health, Mr. Chidana. None of us are immune to this disease.
And that is a good thing. Death and disease is a constant reminder of our mortality. But you have my thanks, Dr. Reed.
Can you tell me anything about recent events in the hospital?
Oh, goodness me. This whole story is such a shame, sir. I have no idea how it happened.
What are you talking about?
Poor Miss Jones. Her body is missing. Someone stole it.
Miss Jones's body has gone missing.
Yes. The body was brought here this morning, and now it's gone.
Who could have stolen a corpse?
That's exactly what I asked myself for the whole day. Who could do such a thing? These are terrible and shameful times, Dr. Reed.
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It never ceases to amaze me.
But in the circumstances...
Disgust on every street corner. The
Good evening,
daily
Miss Howcroft.
routine.
How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
Is there anything you can tell me about the recent commotion here?
Many things can happen under cover of night, Dr. Reed. But I took no part in this massacre.
But did you see or hear anything?
I can't say I did. But the smell of fresh blood almost made me faint, Doctor.
I'll leave you, Mr.
Oh, Jonathan. I cannot believe my eyes. Poor woman. Butchered by some savage scowl.
Yes, and I'm afraid I'm at least partially responsible. The man, the scowl, I brought him here.
Jonathan, how could you say such a thing?
Forgive me if I feel despondent. For there seems to be no end to the suffering and death that surrounds us.
I'm always here for you, Jonathan.
What do you know of Ascalon? I was threatened by a creature, a vampire in Whitechapel, stating I had to obey the law of conduct.
What more can you tell me about him?
He was bigger than a man. Huge, in fact. He seemed to radiate violence. I thought he was going to tear me apart. Then he vanished.
Fergal, the executioner of Ascalon. You were fortunate he was not after you, but rather out doing his master's bidding.
What is Ascalon?
The Ascalon Club are the most powerful vampires in Britain, and exert tremendous influence. Take my advice and stay well away.
I have experienced a certain difficulty when faced with holy symbols, or trying to enter religious buildings. Have you?
Now that's quite a question. I don't know why, but yes, it has happened to me.
Is this a sign? A hand of God in action? Are we repellent unto heaven?
I don't have the answers, Jonathan. But I believe superstition and magic is just fact awaiting the lens of science.
Aren't you frightened?
Very little scares me, my dear. To be compelled to avoid symbols of faith does not concern me.
Thank you, my lady. I hope to see you again soon. Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
According to the report I read, your unprofessional conduct put a patient in danger, Gwyneth.
That's not true. I know when my patient's life is at risk, and I'm more competent than a lot of doctors that I know. Problem is, I'm a woman.
I don't see what your gender has to do with your abilities, nurse.
Yes, nurse. Because I'll never be a doctor, no matter what my skills. I could make a decision that could save a life, but oh no, that's unbecoming conduct.
Have you heard of Elizabeth Blackwell? She was the first woman listed on the UK Medical Register. Change is slow, but it will come. And you will always have my support.
To have the right to study shouldn't be determined by sex, skin, or wealth. That's all I'm saying.
Do you require medical assistance, nurse?
I will be fine, as soon as I can get some sleep.
Nurse, you won't be able to help people if you're sick. Take this, and do try to get some rest.
I'll try, Dr. Reed. Thank you.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance. Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
Someone killed Miss Jones in her room, and Mr. Hampton's gone missing. Doesn't take a genius to piece it together.
You don't seem shocked by any of this.
Why should I be? Whoever did this must be long gone by now. And besides, he got rid of the old bag.
Do you need any medical help, Milton?
I'm afraid I do. Like everyone in this hospital. It's a sad state of affairs when even the hospital workers are worried about disease.
Our job brings us into contact with all kinds of infections, Milton. There's no shame in being ill while you're in a hospital.
That's easy for you to say, Doctor. I get the feeling you don't fall sick often. The facts, anyway.
Goodbye, Milton. Good evening.
Evening, Dr. Reed.
Newton is conflicted about his feelings towards you. Would you like to talk about it, Oswald?
It makes me sad and angry. It feels like the beautiful thing we have is somehow tainted. It hurts to see him so lost.
His love for you is genuine. I'm certain he wasn't lying to me when he expressed his feelings for you.
Newton still has to accept it, knowing he'll be seen as a queer, a fairy, less than a man in those simple-minded bigots' eyes. Though he's more of a man than they'll ever be, so fuck them all.
Do you need medical attention?
Don't get me wrong, sir. I'm grateful for what you've done, but I've never felt comfortable with doctors.
I'm certain you have your reasons. But let me assure you, I'm not like other doctors you may have consulted with.
It is true. You risked your life to save me, after all. It would be impolite to refuse your counsel.
Goodbye, Mr. Thatcher. Try to take care of yourself.
We were supposed to be safe, but what a fucking joke.
It seems the Priwen are redoubling their patrols in the district. I must be more careful.
Best be moving on.
It's mine! I'll take it.
Stop! Vampyr! Step back, sir. Last warning, sir.
Just an inch! Get it!
See them fancy guys? This one's a top.
Oh, God, no!
There's safer places to be than here. Over there! There's one of them. He's being bitten! He's done for! No!
This is Braille. I need someone who can read this.
And I will show you how a wet foot does business. Get away from me, you bastard! Get the fuck out, you crazy bastard! And I will show you how a wet foot does business. Get me here! Get out!
Are you all right, sir? What are you doing in a place like this?
I'm not sure that's any of your business.
I hope you realize that staying here will put your life at great risk.
Pah! I'm not afraid of these guards of Priwen, or whatever these thugs call themselves. I can still kick some respect into those youngsters.
I wasn't specifically referring to them, but are you really after these men? Why?
They took my boy! I've had no news since he joined that crazy gang. So I decided to come and find him myself, to get some answers.
I see. But as I said, your life is at risk if you stay here. And I'm not referring to the gangs either. You should leave, sir.
Well, this part of town used to be nicer, let's say. Perhaps you're right. This isn't the best way to save Andrew.
There is a name engraved under the blood on the back of the case. Jack Gillingham. Maybe I should return this watch to his family. From Seymour to my beloved mother, Stella. What is this doing here? Who are these people?
It's locked, all right.
Hello, boy.
Hello. Good evening.
Did I scare you? You have nothing to fear from me.
No, it's just that people prefer to avoid me.
Well, I won't. I'm a doctor.
My name is Rufus, sir. Rufus Kingsbury.
What can you tell me about this region?
It's all about staying out of trouble. But since most people prefer to avoid me, it's pretty easy.
Why do people avoid you?
They call me Rufus the Curse. Around here, I'm a bit of a bad luck charm.
Have you ever thought about leaving?
Where else would I go? At least I know these streets and some people around here. This is my city, for better or worse.
What do you do around here, Rufus?
I listen to the news on the docks, sir. And I smile at those kind enough to spare me a bob.
What do people say about this place?
Things have been tense between the wet boot boys and the communists. They both feel they should run the docks.
Do you have a job?
It's hard to work, what with my head and all. Since I was a boy, I've always had trouble remembering what I do and why I do it.
Are you alone? Where is your family?
I don't have any. My parents are dead.
So you have no home? You're sleeping rough?
No. I mean, yes. I live on the streets. I have no home.
You should be careful, Rufus. There are things that lurk in the shadows of this city. Things that prey on the lonely and the desperate.
Well, I've known worse. I'm not all alone. I have Mrs. Fishburne. She's been very kind to me.
Why do you think she's so considerate?
I can't say, sir. I guess she's a good soul. Sometimes it's like she replaces the mother I lost, even if we're not related.
Do you know a man who lives in this part of town? A man named Sean Hampton. I'm looking for him.
Sorry, sir. I don't know a lot of folks around here. Most prefer to avoid me.
Well, I don't think you should talk to him. He may be very sick.
Thanks for the tip. You might want to check the Turquoise Turtle. It's a pub not far from here. The barkeep knows everyone in these parts.
So long, Rufus. Be careful. Take care. Good evening, madam. I'm Dr. Reed. Could I come in?
Why? What do you want?
I work at the Pembroke Hospital. I'm investigating the flu epidemic in this area.
Oh, the Spanish flu. Well, that's quite liberal of you, Doctor. But this is no time to be knocking at people's doors.
The disease takes away the good people too, madam. Why not let me in?
It's Mrs. Fishburne. Stella Fishburne. And yes, indeed. Why not let a doctor in? Just grow eyes in the back of that head, sir. Gentle surrender.
It's locked.
So you have questions about the flu, then?
Yes, among other things.
Forgive my rudeness at the door. It's just my son doesn't like strangers coming in the house.
I believe you may find this necklace of interest.
What is it? I don't understand.
It's a gift your son was hoping to give you. But I'm afraid it links him to the nearby murders.
You mean this belongs to one of his victims? Jesus. I knew this day would come. Please, Dr. Reed, accept this for your trouble and leave me be.
This day? You mean you already knew? Are you buying my silence? I will not be an accomplice in this.
What? No. No. My son's crimes distress me more than you can imagine. But I'm his mother. I love him, I do.
The orphan that regards you as a mother. Please tell me about him, Stella.
You mean Rufus? I wish I could do even more for the poor boy. Most people are so selfish.
But you're not.
Years may have passed, but I haven't forgotten how it feels to go through days with nothing but an empty stomach.
May I ask what you do for a living, Mrs. Fishburne?
Since my husband died, I worked at the Dawson Rope Factory, but it closed before the war. I occasionally help at the night asylum, in exchange for food.
Did your husband die in the war?
Oh no, my Jack was a docker. He died when my Seymour was just a lad. The poor boy saw his dad slip and fall from that scaffolding.
How do you pay the rent, then?
My Seymour works at the docks, just like his dad. He's very attached to the house he grew up in. It's not always easy, but we get by all right.
How is life around here?
Life has always been hard in the East End. But it's everywhere nowadays, isn't it?
Violence has always fed on poverty, don't you think? It's a cruel law of the human condition.
And selfishness is their rotten fruit. These days, you can just die in the gutter and no one will bat an eye.
Do you think the increase in violence has anything to do with the epidemic?
Don't know, but it's most likely linked to the gangs if you ask me. Recently, it's like everyone has had to pick a side.
Your son's gone way beyond simply bullying people. He has a taste for blood, and you know it, don't you, Stella?
One night, he told me straight up, in his own words. It was several days after one of his episodes.
Why did he confess? Did you suspect something?
No. I guess he wanted his old mum to help him fight his, demons.
Did Seymour tell you everything that night?
More than I could stand. The words he used to describe his hate, his rage, how he feels when he's done it.
Tell me about these demons Seymour needs your help to fight.
Seymour used to be such a happy child, and he is still a helping son most of the time. But when he gets angry, he can hardly contain his rage.
All men and women are born innocent, Mrs. Fishburne. But there can be a monster within any of us.
Do you think he can be cured, Doctor? Do you think something can extinguish this rage inside my Seymour?
Science has only just begun to investigate the mysteries of the human mind. Currently, we have more assumptions than fact.
There ain't no hope then. Somehow, somewhere, my son has turned into a monster, and nothing will bring him back.
Stella, I know you are ashamed of your son's crimes. So why do you protect Seymour?
I can't report my own son, can I? Not a burden I could bear.
Burden? How do you mean?
They'd hang him for sure. I won't send my only son to his death.
I'm convinced you raised Seymour the best you could. You're not responsible for what he became.
If someone ever found the courage to speak to the police, I will take my share.
I'm trying to locate Mr. Sean Hampton. Do you know where he could be?
You talking about the one everyone calls the Sad Saint? The man who takes care of the homeless?
The very same, Miss Fishburne.
I'm sorry. I don't know where his shelter is. But if you ask around, I'm sure you'll get your answer.
Goodbye, Miss Fishburne. Take care of yourself.
Please don't stay too long, sir.
Mark my words, miss. These murders are the work of a vampire.
A vampire? Whatever do you mean?
I'm a tracker of these creatures. A vampire hunter.
Not a drop of blood left in his body. This is the work of a vampire.
Hunting all these poor folk, he needs a catching.
A sewer dog? What's it look like?
It's an old story. A monster with daggers for teeth and icy claws. He comes of a sudden, nighttime, claiming innocence, then vanishes.
Teeth, claws, murders by night? Your sewer dog is my business. He's the kind of prey I hunt, milady. Good evening, sir. Have you witnessed any suspicious activity or strange events recently?
And what do you define as a strange event? More to the point, who are you?
My name is Ichabod Throgmorton, vampire hunter extraordinaire and warden of the East End.
A vampire hunter? Really?
I know what you're thinking. I'm just another lunatic howling at the moon, but I'm not. The bloodsuckers exist, and they're close.
Mr. Throgmorton, I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'd like to hear more about these vampires you're hunting.
A man of science? Well, I'll be glad to enlighten you.
So, how exactly are you protecting these people? I'm curious.
I patrol late at night, investigating anything unusual. I try and encourage people to stay indoors, but people are careless.
How do you identify a vampire?
It's simple, really. They can't stand daylight. They're afraid of garlic and holy symbols. They also cannot enter a house without being invited.
Have you ever killed one of these creatures? Yourself, I mean.
Of course I have. What kind of question is that? It's a dirty business, believe me.
Can I help in any way?
Actually, yes. I plan to put up posters to alert the population to the vampire threat.
Are you asking me to paste posters about vampires around the docks?
If you wouldn't mind. If you did that, then I can focus on my patrols.
What can you tell me about this neighborhood?
Did you hear about what happened to Jack Gillingham? Oh boy. It's a shame I wasn't around to protect him.
It's impossible to protect everyone. The violence seems endemic in this part of town.
But it's my duty. I am convinced Jack Gillingham was killed by a vampire. These evil rodents are spreading like a plague.
Have you heard of the Guard of Priwen?
Of course. They're dedicated hunters. A little militant for my taste, but they do let anyone join.
Were you ever tempted to join the Guard yourself?
I did think about it, but I'm more of a silent hunter. They're more of a sanitary militia.
So you hunt alone? That sounds risky.
Vampires are just like every other predator. They hunt when they're hungry and follow certain patterns. It's just a matter of observation and patience.
I'm looking for Sean Hampton. Can you help me, Mr. Throgmorton?
The sad saint? He should be at his night asylum at this hour. But I cannot tell you how to find it, sorry.
Really? Why is that?
It's nothing personal, Doctor. I'm sure your intentions are good, but people who sleep there, they have plenty of reasons to hide.
Maybe at least you can tell me who could help me find him.
Tell you what, go and chat with Tom Watts. He's a bartender and good judge of character. If he talks to you, then it's fine by me.
I could make you tell me, but I respect your refusal. You really believe Sean is a saint, don't you?
All I will say is this. Gossip has it that when he was a child, he was molested. By a priest of all people. Funny thing is, though, it only strengthened his faith.
Goodbye, and good hunting, Mr. Throgmorton. Good evening, sir.
Whatever.
Don't you recognize me? We met a few nights ago.
Don't take it personally. I spent a lot of energy forgetting what I did the night before.
Yes, you had definitely drunk too much then as well. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed.
I'm Jason Delaney. I'll try to remember you. This time.
Is there anything in particular that you like about this part of town? Except for the cheap drinks, I mean.
How dare you say such a thing? I love this neighborhood. So friendly. So joyful.
Why are you so cynical?
Cynicism is the polite way to express despair, Doctor.
No reason at all to rejoice, then? Life is hopeless and then we die, is that it?
Let me tell you a story.
All right. Go on.
A few years ago, When I believed a resolute man could change things around here for good, a tragedy occurred nearby.
What kind of tragedy?
It was a bomb. Bomb that exploded and killed many people. Metal and blood everywhere. Shouts, fire, broken window of the shoe shop, the torn street light.
You lost people you loved that day, didn't you?
I've lost everything. But you know what the worst part is? I don't even remember where it happened. I've drunk so much to forget it. And now I can't remember where it was. I can't pay my homage to the dead.
I'm sorry, Mr. Delaney.
It's okay. If you ever find the place, just leave a flower for me there. Even if you tell me where it is. I'm not sure I'd memorize it.
Surely you must have had dreams and expectations when you were young, like everybody else.
Sure. I wanted things to change. To really change, and to change for good. The bigger the dream, the harder the fall.
Sounds like you were an idealist, which is honorable.
No, sir. I was an anarchist, and I believed that exclusive property is a robbery in nature. I wanted a new world to rise from the ashes, Dr. Reed.
Do you really think the world is that bad?
No, I believe we all can choose to make it better. But most of us are too weak, too corrupt and too guilty. I failed for sure, but others will come.
I want to know more about your past as an anarchist, Dyson.
I'm still an anarchist, Doctor. Make no mistake. I just reject violence as a tool to change the world, unlike my comrades.
Do you still see your comrades, then? Even if you don't agree with their methods anymore, I mean.
It's likely to cause a problem as to solve one.
I've never even been to India.
Good evening, Tom.
Good evening, sir. How are you tonight? Back to the docks, are we?
You remember me, then?
Of course I do. You're that man who seemed so lost when he entered my bar a few nights ago.
Thank you for your hospitality. I'm Jonathan Reed, by the way.
I'm still Tom Watts. Welcome back, Doctor.
How is it you can keep this place open? This part of town doesn't seem particularly safe.
Well, since everybody needs a drink, my pub is considered neutral ground by most groups.
I see. So you get pressure from all sides about how this place should be run, do you?
Or something like that. Nothing that a few wise words and a bottle of gin can't solve.
Since I'm here, is there anything I can do?
Well, perhaps, Doctor. Peace partly depends on my stock of gin. With the epidemic, my supplies are running low.
How could a physician help you in this matter?
I have a small warehouse just past the quarantine line. Perhaps, with you being a doctor, you could go there and come back?
Doctors aren't immune to disease, you know. Very well. Show me where it is. I'll see what I can do.
Oh, thank you, sir. Here's the key to get in. You're about to save many dry throats.
You're something of a figurehead around here.
I'm only pouring alcohol for everyone to forget their troubles. Sean Hampton is the one giving them long-term hope.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
It's not that bad. Thanks to people like the sad saint of the East End.
Who?
Sean Hampton, our own private holy figure. Few are foolish enough to make peace with the gangs. Sean is one of them.
Tom, I need to find Sean Hampton as quickly as possible. I've been told you could help me.
I heard the sad saint was recovering at Pembroke Hospital. Did he leave or something?
I believe he returned to his flock. Can you confirm that?
Oh, I bet you're right. Sean can't help but worry about the poor and sick. Oh, I guess it has something to do with what happened to him as a baby.
Please, tell me.
Well, I don't like to gossip, but I heard that the sad saint was abandoned as a baby in front of a Catholic orphanage in Dublin. That would explain his faith and need to help everyone.
The important thing is I find him, quickly.
Why not try his night asylum? He takes care of those who need a meal or a roof there.
Where is it?
It's in an old warehouse, northwest of here. Just follow the bank to the west and go north when you reach the end of the pier.
Goodbye, Mr. Watts.
So few clients. What with the epidemic, no one dares go outside.
It's locked, all right.
I hope I live long enough to see them wet boot boys get what's coming to them.
Evening, miss.
Well, I never. That's a first. Customers who make that much mess rarely come back. Never mind in fancy togs.
I'm much more myself than when we first met. By the way, I'm Jonathan, Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Welcome back to the Turquoise Turtle then, Doctor. I'm Sabrina Cavendish. How can I help you?
This place seems, how shall I put it, very colorful. I'm sure it has plenty of stories to tell.
We get people of all sorts here. It's that rare place in the docks where you can have a drink without being murdered. At least it's not happened yet.
So this bar is neutral territory then?
Yeah. Tom's convinced this is something the locals need. No one ever draws a weapon here. That's one of the reasons I accepted the job.
Your boss must be quite the negotiator to force such an agreement.
Yeah. Tom's a great bloke. Mr. Hampton, who runs the night asylum, he's the only other man that's able to keep peace around here.
What can you tell me about this area?
People don't appreciate that line of questioning round here. You best be more careful with what you say, sir.
You look concerned, Miss Cavendish.
This is a bad borough. Most people I know are afraid. Most locals will rob you blind, or worse. You best mind your step.
So you and your friends all feel in danger? No exceptions?
Tom's the only exception I've come across until now. But he's not like everybody else.
Excuse my curiosity, but where exactly are you from, Miss Cavendish?
Something bothering you? What, my name? Or my complexion?
Believe me, I never judge someone on their place of birth or the color of their skin.
If that's true, you'd be one of the few not to make fun of me. Just you, Tom, Dyson, Miss Fishburne, and of course Mr. Hampton.
I'm sorry if I worried you. I was just curious to find out if you know this part of town well.
Nosy. My dad was a sailor from Bombay, and my mum was a maid born up in Glasgow. They got married in London. And here I am.
Miss Cavendish, would you be willing to help me locate Sean Hampton?
You better ask Tom, sir.
Why not answer me directly?
We respect the privacy of our customers here, sir. Only Tom can decide who to speak to and what he'll say to them.
Goodbye, Miss Cavendish.
I should have offered a drink to the boy. Being cursed.
Human!
Tom has so much alcohol, he could keep this district afloat for quite some time.
Another disgusting ghoul did it, don't you think?
Seems like the guard of Prewen is on Sean Hampton's trail, too.
You leech! Want some of this? Burn it, boys! I
wounds on this corpse are deep, the result of rabid rage. If this is Sean's doing, he's become a murderous beast.
Welcome back, Doctor. What can I do for you?
You lied to me, Tom. Your warehouse wasn't empty. It was inhabited with armed vigilantes.
I'm sorry, Dr. Reed, but I thought those Prewen guards would be willing to let someone like you pass without trouble.
That was devious of you, Tom. Next time you can bloody well go yourself.
I apologize, Doctor, but it's just that I prefer to avoid the law, its enforcers, and all manner of thugs in uniform.
Here is your booze. I hope it will appease your customers. Just try not to kill anyone with this poison of yours.
Believe me, Doctor, most of my customers are less agreeable when sober.
Tell me about your arrest for attempted murder, Tom.
I tried to kill someone. I got arrested. I paid my debt and I have nothing to hide.
Do you think prison changed you? Made you a better man?
Oh, I don't know about that. All I brought back is bad memories, scars, and an ugly tattoo of a blue turtle.
But do you feel cleansed of your sins?
All I know is that I'm at peace. I did what I did, but I wouldn't do it again. Does that make me a better man? I don't know.
You attempted murder. Give me some details.
I was given an order to kill. I was an obedient gang member at the time, a proud, wet boot boy.
Why did you join the gang?
Because I finally felt useful. Do you have any idea what it means to feel respected when the rest of the world shits on you?
So you were ordered to kill someone. What happened then?
I don't know if you can possibly understand, but I couldn't kill him. I just stood there pointing my gun. Someone saw me. I gave up.
Why couldn't you shoot?
My target was eating in that fancy restaurant with mirrors and music. He was eating, drinking, laughing. He was having such a good time. I hated him for his bottomless appetite and easy life of easy pickings. And then something happened.
You've had a sad, violent, and lonely life, with no joy to speak of. You realized that you were living with nothing but sadness.
No, not really. I had friends and happiness in my life. It was more about just being pleased for the guy.
Why not leave town and start a new life after you got out of jail?
I grew up in the East End. This is where my roots are. This is where I want to help others and die, eventually.
Do you think the docks will always be a hive of scum and villainy?
As long as poverty and fear run the show, I don't see how it would change. Misery loves company, as they say.
Don't you feel threatened, staying in such a violent and criminal neighborhood?
I've made peace with my violent past, Dr. Reed. I may not be a pacifist, but I'm not angry anymore.
Goodbye, Mr. Watts. I cannot enter.
There's one of them! Watch yourselves!
It's locked, all right.
inhuman! Kill it! Watch out, lad! Christ! He's dead! I'd head back if I were you, sir.
I know I've got something that'll strike your fancy. If not, I'll find you something. I know I've got something that'll strike your fancy. If not...
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Do you need any help?
Rest assured, I will help you, sir. Martin Nightingale, at your service. Please, take a look at my wares.
Your merchandise. I don't really see anything worth having. No offense.
None taken, sir. But please, I need to eat. Perhaps if you keep looking, you'd see something that takes your fancy.
I found this watch. It belonged to Miss Gillingham, but I thought you might find it useful.
That makes sense. She would have forgotten about the watch by the next day.
If you say so.
Take this for your trouble, Dr. Reed. I will not forget your gesture, I swear.
I actually did not intend to do it, but I guess whatever.
What can you tell me about the neighborhood? Have you got any friends around these parts?
Not really. Miss Gillingham smiles and says kind words, but I know she's lost her marbles, especially since her son died.
Tell me about this crazy woman. Madness is often mistaken for other conditions.
The poor woman's mad, all right. Kind and all, but she has so much trouble remembering things. She's taken me for a son more than once.
How interesting. I don't suppose you know what happened to her son.
Jack, Rumor has it he tried to tackle some gang lads. I didn't know him well, but I heard he was a nice enough chap. His old ma still thinks he's around.
Why not try seeking help instead of peddling your wares? I'm sure there are people around here that would gladly help.
There's always the night asylum. Heard it's run by a very nice man, but I'm no beggar. Not yet, at least.
There is no shame in asking for help, my boy. Sometimes it can even be the best course of action.
I don't feel okay with that. I'm gonna make a name for myself, and I'll do it by myself.
I'm looking for Sean Hampton. Can you help me?
He's a caretaker for the poor, is he not?
Something like that, yes.
Sorry, I don't know where he is.
Show me what you have to offer then, Mr. Nightingale.
I know I've got something that'll strike your fancy. If not... I'll find you something.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. May I come in?
I already took my medication, Doctor. But thank you.
I'm sorry. Your medication? Have we met before?
Don't tease me like that, Jack. Sorry, what?
I think I should come in, miss. I'd like to check if everything is okay, what with the epidemic spreading across London.
An epidemic, you say? How terrible. I had no idea. But where are my manners? Please do come in, Doctor. You are a doctor, yes? So, Dr. Tippett, what brings you back here? I heard whispers you had a job at that fancy hospital.
I told you my name is Jonathan Reed. Don't you remember?
Of course I do. I remember my name too. Gillingham. But you may call me Enid, Doctor. I'm very happy to see you again.
Is anyone taking care of you, Miss Gillingham?
My son is always here to take care of me. He's a good boy like that, but I do worry that he needs to start living his own life. I would never say that to him, of course.
Who are the more influential figures on the docks?
Well, I heard about some terrible illness going around. I would say in that case that it's you, Dr. Tippett.
Do you require medical attention, miss?
I'm glad you asked, Dr. Tippett. I must confess I haven't felt that well of late.
I'll try my best. Here, take this. And please, try to get some rest.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you very much.
Enid, have you really no idea what happened to your son? No idea at all?
I've not seen Jack for so long. I lose track of time. Has something bad happened to him?
Jack is dead, Miss Gillingham.
Of course he's not. I've seen him. Tonight, in fact. Ever the joker, Dr. Tippets.
Tell me, Enid, why do you feel guilty about your son?
I know I'm a burden to my Jack. I know my mind and my thoughts are drifting away. I'm so sorry. I can't help it.
This is not your doing, Miss Gillingham. You do not have to apologize for your condition.
Of course I don't, Doctor. I've done nothing wrong, I swear it. What exactly are we talking about here?
I'm looking for a Sean Hampton. Do you know where I might find him?
Sean Hampton, you say? Oh, the name does seem vaguely familiar, but alas, I cannot recall from where.
Goodbye, Miss Gillingham. It's locked, all right.
I know I've got something that'll strike your fancy. If not, I'll find you something.
It's locked, all right. Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. May I have your attention for a minute?
Good evening, sir. My name is Giselle Paxton, but I don't have time for men like you.
Have we met before?
No, but I just need to look at your fancy clothes to know that you must be desperate to visit the docks at night.
That's quite judgmental of you.
Sir, I've led enough strikes when I had a job to identify you as an enemy of the working class.
May I ask what you do for a living?
I'm killing myself scraping for a living. And you? Have you ever had to struggle in your entire life?
As I told you, I'm a doctor. You have to work a lot to earn that title.
Oh, a doctor. Born with money in a nice house, were we? Was Daddy a banker or a doctor himself?
Why such hatred? Are you judging me by my clothes and my job?
Course I am. Fuck, you're so blind. You don't even see your privilege. Lazy people like you disgust me.
What can you tell me about this vicinity?
Tell you what, just spend a few weeks here, and then ask me that question again. If you're still alive, I mean.
I think I found second candidate after that priest who needs to be drained of some blood.
You don't know me, Miss Paxton, and yet you see me as an enemy.
Your manners, your clothes, your words tell me everything about you, sir. I know your kind, and you don't belong here.
Oh no, Miss Paxton, you really don't know my kind. You have no idea who I am.
All right, okay. No need to get all worked up.
If you have something to say, say it. I'm getting tired of all this.
Oh. You want information instead? Well, here's some for you. Giselle Paxton does not like you at all, Doctor.
You speak of strikes and class enemy. Am I right to assume you're involved in trade union activism?
You bet I am. Well, I was. Nowadays, I'm just another worker blacklisted by the big companies.
You lost your job because of your beliefs.
Those bastards really hate a worker who refuses slave wages and unsafe conditions, especially when it's a woman.
Isn't the whole point of trade unions to help workers in need? Why don't they support you?
A few nights back, I lost the money my companions had asked me to hide. With me and my sister being penniless, they thought I stole it.
What really happened?
I drank too much that night. Strange men saw me count the money in that bar. Some sort of militia in uniform. I'm sure they robbed me.
I'm looking for Sean Hampton. Can you help me?
What is it you want? Does he owe you money? Has he displeased your Royal Highness? I'm no snitch, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Well, I'll leave you for now. Goodbye, Miss Paxton. Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Can I help you?
A fancy doctor lurking at night by the docks? Not fishy at all.
And what about you? Working outside at night in this dangerous part of town?
You want to know my secret? I'm trying to earn money. And I'm Lottie Paxton, by the way.
Is it not dangerous to work here at night?
As long as I have good legs, I can run away from trouble. The Sad Saint now provides me and my sister a bed and a roof. I don't want to lose that.
Are you homeless, Miss Paxton?
Mr. Hampton's night asylum is our new home now. It's a safe place for me and my sister.
What can you tell me about the Sad Saint?
It's just the nickname of Sean Hampton, the Sad Saint of the East End. He gave me shelter, and he's not always sad.
I'm looking for Sean Hampton. Can you help me?
Mr. Hampton must be in his office at the night asylum he manages, I suppose. Why do you want to see him?
He was a patient of mine at the Pembroke Hospital, but he left abruptly.
I see. Well, Mr. Hampton is a discreet and dedicated man. I'm sure you'll find him soon enough.
Goodbye, Miss Paxton.
This Seymour worries me. Perhaps Sean knows something about him.
It's locked.
Why the long face, Doctor?
Is it all that worries you, Sean? My long face? Really?
This is a blessing for me, to become a Skal. Immortality gives me more time and energy, if truth be known, to run a shelter. What more could I want?
Since you left Pembroke, the amount of blood that has been shed, it's hard to believe you, Sean.
Ask what you will. As the Lord is my shepherd, I will not speak a lie to you.
Why return here?
This is my home. These people are my flock. You will always find me where I am needed.
Wonders never cease. Skal managing an asylum.
And what of you? A vampire doctor? Meals laid out before you. Yet you restrain?
And what about William Bishop? He tried to take care of you. But this hunger, this thirst, cannot be restrained.
Alas, poor William. He had a good soul, but was weak in spirit. He could not shake the thirst for booze, never mind blood. But have faith. My will is far stronger than his.
Aren't you afraid of what you've become?
We are blessed, Doctor. Can't you see it? The Lord has made us able to walk amongst the plague and aid those that need it.
But you must drink blood now to survive.
No, not your scripture. Whoso eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood hath eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. So saith the Lord. I only need to eat flesh, no blood.
Do you think this is a blessing when God's own house and holy symbols repel you?
If that is your burden, Doctor, so be it. But I do not fear the cross, nor am I forced to take the life of another. My kind doesn't share your imperfections.
Why did you kill Miss Jones at the Pembroke Hospital?
Killed old Harriet? You must be mad, Doctor. Why would I do such a thing?
So you claim Miss Jones' death was not by your hand, nor the other incidents at Pembroke?
Though Harriet was an angry, spiteful woman, she was one of God's creatures. I have nothing but love for all he has made.
But you were close to her.
Of course. But she was lost, separated from the fold. She did not see the hand of the divine in my blessed condition.
People have been murdered. I've seen the blood. I don't believe you can be trusted.
Have a little faith, Doctor. If you will follow, I will guide you to the light.
How do you plan to do that?
Take this key of the old sewers. The entrance is by the riverbank, south from here. There you'll find all the proof you need.
Very well. You have definitely intrigued me. I hope you're right, Sean.
I'll be here when you return. If you still think I'm a threat then, well, I surrender myself to your judgment.
Sorry, sir. No admittance. Over there!
This could be the public house Giselle Paxton mentioned. I should investigate further.
Filthy fucking beast!
Giselle's stolen money. Priwen has some unethical ways of financing their war.
Ours is to flush every hole with a... Die, beast! It ain't you, Eva! Get it! Find it, fight! Oh, Christ! This beast! Away with you! Killing!
I cannot enter. That doesn't work. There must be a way to control the water level in this reservoir. I need to find the wheel. That doesn't work. So that's it. These wheels control the water level.
gate should shut properly.
It's locked.
These maggots have escaped the wrath of Ascalon for too long. It is time to purge the sewers of their filth.
You again! The one they call the sewer dog.
Hold your tongue, newborn, or I'll crush you like a maggot.
You've let the beast consume you.
Finally! A touch of lucidity. So learn to respect the laws of Ascalon! Dare challenge the dictates of Ascalon? Whilst you vanished, slaughtered the Scalds while singing your name! No, you cannot comprehend! You found your death in me! I shall tear them apart and shall snap like a hare's brittle bones, newborn! Down, stay down. Return to your apothecary.
I think he bugged out, but anyway, we won.
It's locked, all right. At least one Skull escaped Fergal's wrath. The poor creature is bleeding to death. He cannot be far. How could he have made it this far? There's blood everywhere.
Safe we are, still. Drink now.
Bless you, Bridget.
This isn't the blood of a vampire, but it will quench your thirst. This is our domain, not yours. You've been warned.
Wait, I saved you from this creature. That must count for something.
Thank you. Now go. Go back to the streets and houses. There is no love lost between us, Vampire. But thank you.
Sean Hampton sent me here. I believe he wanted me to find you. Who are you?
If you must know, they call me Old Bridget. And this shelter is where we live.
I'm Jonathan Reed. I'm a newborn Ekon. I'm afraid I'm not sure what's going on.
I shall not bend a knee, young Ekon. But I sense your pain. Ask, and I will afford you my attention.
Why was that creature after you?
Fergal is the blunt instrument of the Ascalon Club. His masters would see us dead or turned into slaves, if they had their way.
What the hell was that thing? He wasn't an Ekon or a Skull.
They are known as Volkod, an ancient offshoot of Immortals. Blood drives them, enrages them.
What of this Ascalon Club?
Vampire society's elite in the Empire. They make the rules and enforce their judgment upon us whom they see as lessers.
So was it you that Sean Hampton sent me to find?
Perhaps. The sad saint was always kind to us. He must trust you if he revealed our location.
Sean is a Skull. All those I've encountered have been violent, crazed creatures. How can he be any different?
Maybe because he is the sad saint. Or perhaps because I am Old Bridget of the Sewer Skulls.
Sean killed a patient of mine. And that's just one of the murders he's being hunted for.
If you refer to Harriet, she is now among us and under our protection.
Harriet Jones is alive. That's it. That's the proof Sean wanted me to find. I must talk to her.
No. Harriet is not alive. But you can speak to her. I must warn you. She is fragile and may not receive you warmly.
I don't understand.
She is filled with bile and hate. Her mind is sharp as a tack, but her body is so weak. I've never seen its like before. She is resting in a room on the far right of this hideout.
Thank you. I will bear that in mind.
We're at your mercy. Will you end us? Oh, Bridget allowed me to wander above some years back. It was unpleasant. We're at your mercy. Will you end us? Your spell is enticing. So sweet of blood.
Hello, Harriet. Do you recognize me?
Yes, you were from the Pembroke Hospital. The young doctor. So full of secrets.
I've so many questions I need to ask you, Harriet. If you would.
I love questions. As for the answers, you may not like them.
How do you feel?
I can't see. I can't move. My body's burning. I feel as if I'm dying over and over again.
Have you tried to eat or drink something?
People here tried to feed me, but I'm just not hungry. I don't have the strength.
Your room, the blood. What brought you to fake your death in such a gruesome fashion?
To see if I would be mourned.
Why flee with Sean Hampton?
Oh, it's always a pleasure to see a saint fall to sin. But the coward still won't kill.
Do you take pleasure in causing so much pain and sorrow?
Nobody gave a damn about me. Not a tear shed. Poor Harriet. Always the discarded.
Why did you come here?
And why not? This is where I live now. Leave me be.
Will you respect old Bridget's wishes? Will you obey her?
Bridget is kind. She only needs to keep me fed and I'll be good.
So you desire to stay here?
Yes, I'm with my own kind. Birds of a feather, so to speak. Poor Harriet. Always alone.
I have a question of the utmost importance to ask. Will you answer?
Questions, questions, questions. The good doctor, always searching for answers.
Do you remember what you did after leaving the hospital? Did you kill anyone?
First, a question from me. You answer first.
Very well, then. What do you want to know?
Are you like me? Are you also dead?
We are not dead, Harriet. Death no longer pertains to us. We are different.
I like what I am. I truly do. I relish the pain that courses through me.
I know you fled the hospital with Sean Hampton. Did you or Sean kill anyone in your flight? Anyone? Try and remember.
I will not lie. I wanted blood, and I wanted revenge, and Sean pulled me from it, brought me here instead. But the shadows heard my prayers. The shadows killed that bastard.
Who was that man? The one murdered in the street?
He used to be my landlord. I lived here for many years before falling ill. Oh, he was an awful man. Disgusting and cruel. So cruel.
Shadows? Tell me what you saw.
The shadows, they heard me and answered. Something in the deep darkness. Quick, deadly. It asked me if I wanted revenge. I answered, yes.
And these shadows, this presence, do you still hear it? Was it a vampire? Did Sean see it?
It spoke only to me, and now it is silent, but it is born of hatred. And it will kill again. And it hates you, Doctor. Oh, it hates you.
What makes you say that?
It whispered your name, Dr. Reed. It wanted to know who you were and where you went.
Questions about me? What did you say?
Nothing, Doctor. I said nothing. There was nothing it didn't already know. Oh, I'm tired now. Let me rest.
Have you found the answers you were looking for, young Ekon?
There is too much left unanswered. So many questions.
Get to know us, spend time with us, and I may be willing to answer more questions.
Your diction, your words. You do not carry yourself like most Skulls I've encountered.
True. I'm not like most Skulls.
You were once someone else. What happened to you?
It is as sad as it is long, young Ekon, but it will remain mine.
Can I be of service to you?
We ask but one thing. Reveal to no one our secrets. Do not betray us.
For how long have you been in hiding here?
Skulls have been hiding under London since vampires first entered the city.
Where did you hide before the sewers?
We claimed ancient tunnels, forgotten caverns, catacombs. We are Skulls, groveling beneath the feet of our makers.
Why do you live here, amongst the filth and vermin?
Live. Here we hide.
What are you hiding from?
From the guilt, the shame, from the hunters and the light. And of course, our past.
Why don't you leave the city? Hide somewhere far from the Guard of Priwen, the Ascalon Club.
We are the Sewer Skulls. This is our domain. We have run as far as we can, and now we hide.
What manner of creature is Harriet? She is different from everyone else.
I really don't know. I'm not even certain she is a Skull. I've no idea as to what blood made her.
What is a Skull, in fact, in your honest opinion?
The progeny of a vampire, disavowed by her maker. Perhaps a fruitless branch of a noble tree. A word used to enslave us. I cannot say.
You mentioned that vampire blood has tremendous potency. You believe it to be stronger than your own?
The vampire's sweet blood. That rich, dark wine that we crave. For it made us, and it can sustain us.
I thank you for your time, madam. I must go back to Sean Hampton now.
Your kindness has been ample payment, Egon. To protect us, I'll close the access to our hideout, but you can use our shortcut to reach Mr. Hampton's shelter. Just follow the arrows.
Thank you, old Bridget. I hope we'll meet again.
Old Bridget says you are one to trust.
It's locked. It's locked, all right.
Welcome back, Dr. Reed. Would you like to take communion with me now?
Sean, are you eating raw flesh?
It is the sacred flesh of the mortal lamb. Our Lord's bountiful transmutation for the sustenance of his believers. Thank you, Lord. I am your most humble servant.
So, true to your word, you waited for my return.
I told you, Dr. Reed, I was a man to be trusted. Did you have words with the poor Harriet?
You make no distinction between the living and the scars, do you?
We are God's children, Dr. Reed. One and all. And he's determined to save us.
Does this place belong to you? How can you be so certain you can keep it open?
This warehouse was once property of the Dawson family, but has been bequeathed me through donation.
The Dawsons? The wealthiest family in London? Have they a clue as to what goes on here?
Not at all. The donation was made before the war. The building was run down. I never met Aloysius Dawson myself.
So you have the run of the place and no one's taken notice?
As long as we keep to ourselves, we interest no one. This is a haven, and I pray it remains so for eons to come.
What will be the result if you continue to assist both Skulls and the living?
For the last decade, that's what's been happening. And they found a better life. What's to change?
You're forgetting the epidemic. Things can go south very quickly. I've seen it.
Oh, these are terrible times. Only those pure of heart shall prevail.
You've turned Skull now. Don't you see the danger to anyone giving you their trust?
We are all sinners, awaiting salvation. This is a simple truth, ordained by the Lord Almighty. I am a seeker of his glorious light.
Harriet, Miss Jones, has been behaving in a most violent manner. She's going to need special attention.
That's precisely the reason I brought her here. To meet old Bridget. She's the guide Harriet requires.
Who is this old Bridget?
I don't know, Doctor. She rarely speaks of her past, but I know she has a long one. She's likely the oldest soul in the city.
Harriet is possessed by her hatred. You cannot let her roam free. She's dangerous.
She has joined her own kind, Doctor. Old Bridget is a saint to the younger Scals, guiding them to salvation and peaceful existence.
I believe I've learned all I need to know. I'm certain you've killed no one, but one day I believe you'll cross the line.
Logic is a false prophet. Faith is the only path to salvation.
What do you mean?
We have been blessed with God's eternity. We are the instruments of his divine will. We shall feed the hungry forever and ever. Amen.
Let's simply agree that all are one and the same. In death, I mean.
Give yourself over to God, Doctor. Expel your urges and kneel before the Lord in praise.
These urges. You know the hunger will never be satisfied.
I've come to embrace the everlasting craving. I have sworn to feed only upon the flesh of the dead. It is now my sacrament. Take, eat. This is my body. So saith the Lord.
What shall we choose? Because this is quite weird. What does turn mean? Like turn to God or something?
I believe you, Sean. In fact, I envy the peace you found, and will remember it.
There is love and compassion in your heart. You only need to give it wings.
Thank you for your kind words, Sean. Continue your noble efforts. You are a good man in bad times.
Keep to the light, my friend. Like all my flock, you have a home here. Anytime you're in the neighborhood.
Another corpse thrown in the streets. Someone's playing a very sick game. I know this brooch. This is my mother's. A birthday gift from father. "29 Pretty Orchard Street." That's near Poplar's district. Why would this man carry off my mother's brooch? I must go there.
You again? What do you want?
I've identified the men who stole from you. You were right. They were members of some self-proclaimed militia.
I knew it! Did you find the money, too?
Yes, here it is. They thought they could finance their activities with it.
I never thought a man like you would be kind enough to... I misjudged you. Badly. Well, thank you, sir.
Will you give the money back to your comrades, then?
Fuck those bastards who fired me. I'll give the money to Miss Gillingham. Her son Jack was a friend of mine. He was killed recently.
Did you see what just happened?
No, I didn't. And I don't care.
Really? Why is that?
Because this sexist pig is one of the 4 men who blacklisted me. Good riddance, if you ask me.
Giselle, tell me about the death of your mother.
After our father died, Mother worked so hard she made herself sick. We spent all the money we had on useless drugs and doctors. It was hell.
Hell? What do you mean?
The 3 of us were exhausted and desperate. And when I'm desperate, I tend to get angry. And I'm hard to live with. Lottie said I killed Mother.
Your sister was suffering too. I'm sure she didn't mean what she said.
I don't want to talk about that. It was years ago. We Paxton sisters are tough. We don't apologize.
I know you were friends with Miss Gillingham's son, Jack. Tell me about his death.
Jack's murder has been a shock to the neighborhood. A sign that the situation is now out of control.
Why is that?
There has always been tension between the Wet Boot Boys and members of the trade union. But a murder? That's a first.
Why does that upset you so much?
I wish I had found the time and words to tell him how important he was to me before it was too late. Another failure for Giselle Paxton.
Who killed him?
No one will ever know. One thing is certain. While Jack was alive, I had one less reason to drink.
Well, I'll leave you for now. Goodbye, Miss Paxton.
Glad to see you again, Mr. Reed.
Did you see what happened?
No. I was coming back to the shelter from work when I heard an awful scream, and there was this man, dead, just in front of the building.
You saw nothing at all?
No, I told you, just that awful woman's scream.
A woman's scream? Are you sure?
Of course. It was terrifying. I thought it was my sister, so I ran. But it was a man I've never seen round here before.
Lottie, tell me about the death of your mother.
Giselle killed her. Plain and simple. She killed her with her daily whims, her laziness, and her complaints.
That's quite a statement. You can't kill someone because you're fickle.
Mother was very ill. But I forgave Giselle. What I couldn't stand was how she cried at her funeral like she was the one left alone.
Perhaps your sister is not as tough as you are.
I know that, and I don't blame her. It just makes me sad that my own sister is the person I understand the least.
Giselle is the only family you have left. Don't you think it's time you forgave her?
Sometimes words are harder to forgive than acts, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Miss Paxton. Good evening, Mr. Throckmorton.
Dr. Reed, can I be of any assistance? Have you noticed anything suspicious lately?
Did you see what happened to him?
Actually, yes. He was thrown from the roof like a vulgar log.
Who could have done that?
Who? Well, a vampire, of course. Look, bite marks on the neck and lacerations here. There is definitely a vampire close by.
Why is it that you sound so afraid?
You didn't see it. He was dead before he hit the ground. The strength required to do such a thing, well, it beggars belief.
You've never faced, let alone killed a vampire, Ichabod. You're a fraud.
No, I'm not. I may embellish the truth concerning my achievements, but I'm totally dedicated to my quest.
Stop fooling yourself. You've never faced a vampire before. You wouldn't stand a chance.
Well, that's not true, sir. I've already faced one of these creatures.
Oh, really? And you're still alive.
Well, we did not actually fight. I let it go.
What do you mean?
I entered the vampire's den. The stench was terrible. I was ready to kill it. But then I saw it. Just a suffering soul like you and me. I spared her.
Tell me about the vampire you spared.
It was... She was a girl. Her body was a mess. I could see pus running from the deep wound. She was crying in pain.
You cared about her. That's what defines us as human, Ichabod.
Yes, but she was a truly evil creature. I'm haunted by the tragedies she caused ever since I spared her.
Goodbye, and good hunting, Mr. Throckmorton.
is no place for you, sir.
I cannot enter.
Yes, for places to be than here.
It's a leech! Kill it! Burn it, boys! Back to the bloody grind! Yeah, fuck, he's dead!
It's locked, all right. Good evening, sir.
Who the fuck are you? Don't you see I'm busy here?
Dr. Jonathan Reed, that's who I am. And who are you?
Ah, some fancy gentleman we've got here. Clear off. We don't want strangers on our streets.
So you won't tell me your name, then?
The name is Booth Digby. Maybe I'll ask my boys to break one or two of your bones, just so you remember it.
Are you some kind of vigilante patrolling these streets at night?
Something like that, but the police aren't in charge here. We are, see?
So, tell me about your gang, then.
What? Have you got a death wish? You really want me to answer that?
Well, yes. You seem so proud of your status. Why not tell me who you're working for?
Oi! I'm the boss, all right? The Wet Boot Boys work for me. All of them. Situation round here is better than other districts because of us. Because of me.
So you're a concerned criminal, is that it?
Using funny jokes about me and my boys, are you? Fuck. You must have some balls.
I saw many men like you during the war, Mr. Digby. Greedy little cockroaches who feed on despair.
I could kill you for saying that. But, nah. You've been a soldier. I can respect that.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
Things ain't that bad, thanks to us. We give people what they need, and we control this borough.
Well, you're not doing a very good job. People are still dying here, like everywhere else.
Yeah, well, we can't be everywhere all the time. And Edwina says if we can find more guns, we could be more efficient.
More efficient? Really? You should probably tell Edwina that guns are useless against diseases and infections.
Incredible. You know what? You're lucky she can't hear you right now. She's more smart than patient. My sweet queen of the docks.
I know you're looking for an honest job, Booth. You're tired of this criminal life, aren't you?
It's just an idea. Edwina loves to run things so much. You can never really leave the gang. Wet boys for life, you know?
Goodbye, Mr. Digby. Good evening, miss. I am Dr. Reed. May I ask you a few questions?
Who are you? What do you want?
As I just told you, I'm a doctor. From the Pembroke Hospital, actually.
The Pembroke Hospital, you say? I ain't paying any bill left by Clay.
I'm not here to collect payment, Miss...
Miss Edwina Cox. So what do you want then? Fancy buying something from me, maybe?
Can I see what you have to sell?
As long as you have money, I'll show you all I have.
Good evening, Miss Cox.
Hello again.
What can you tell me about your work?
I'm a businesswoman. I buy and sell things, and I send my wet boot boys after anyone who don't play nice with me.
Gang member and shopkeeper. Can't be easy running double shifts.
If you're interested, I may find use of a doctor who can freely walk across the city, you know.
You're quite blunt, aren't you?
I like people who know what they want and say what they think. This is a time of great opportunity for those ready to embrace their destiny.
I'm not interested in a career in the criminal underworld, Miss Cox.
Fair enough. Stay away from us then, if you don't want to get hurt or worse.
Since my return from the war, I don't feel that concerned by threats, knives, or even bullets, if you must know.
That's exactly what that stupid trade unionist claimed after he attacked one of us. Booth and I reminded him a bullet beats words every time.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
You can't trust anyone around here. As soon as you lower your guard, you can be sure some arsehole will take advantage of you.
You sound like you're thinking of somebody in particular.
Take the gravediggers of Southwark. They must pay me every week, but it looks like they forgot who gave them permission to steal from the dead.
Looting corpses in a mass grave. That is a new low.
Whatever. Hey, since you're a doctor and all, maybe you can access that forbidden area and remind those bastards what they owe.
Really? Don't you think that's a little bit excessive?
Bastards, all of them. This region only responds to violence and threats.
Booth Digby looks at you with love-struck eyes. Tell me, Edwina, is the feeling mutual?
You have no idea how refreshing it can be for a woman to receive all the pleasure she needs. For once.
I'll take your word for it.
What is it, Doctor? A woman's not supposed to talk about these things.
I'm not that easily shocked, Miss Cox. You can speak freely about your lover if you so wish.
The poor bastard is good to me, if you must know. He makes me feel good. And that's a first.
So you're just like any other couple, after all, are you not?
Yeah, we're so ordinary that I'd put a bullet in his head if he ever cheated on me.
Tell me about the man you and Booth killed, Edwina.
The bastard killed one of us and received retribution. There's nothing else to say.
What happened exactly?
I don't know, and I don't care. One of ours was killed by that communist bastard, but he didn't brag for long.
So you have no idea what really happened, but you executed him anyway.
No one messes with the Wet Boot Boys, Doctor. This is our territory, and this is our law.
And your conscience is clear. You kill without hesitation.
Violence is an efficient tool, Dr. Reed, when used properly.
So you decide who lives and who dies, just like that.
Yes, Doctor. Just like that. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm saying it's my way of dealing with troublemakers.
Goodbye, Miss Cox.
Without the wet boots keeping things straight, these parts will be running completely amok.
To every no...
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Why must it always be a good evening?
I was just being polite. I'm Dr. Reed. I'd like to ask you some questions, if I may.
Don't like questions. Or doctors. And the name is Seymour Fishburne, if you must know.
What's your occupation?
I take care of my mum. That's what I do. She's the only good thing in my life. Even though I don't treat her so good.
Sometimes it's hard to be a good son.
I just want her to smile. No, I was thankful for her patience, appreciated like... God knows she deserves it.
Tell me about your victims, Seymour. Who were they? Why them? Was there a link?
Why should there be? They just kept getting on my nerves at the worst times, that's all.
How many? How many victims?
It's not like I keep records. It happens when it happens.
You feel nothing, do you? No empathy for your victims at all?
You seem pretty calm yourself, don't you?
We're not talking about me.
All right. Well, our calm's the only thing we have in common then.
Did you take pleasure in killing them, Seymour? All those people, all those lives extinguished.
I take no pleasure from it. Just gives me peace. Stills the anger. For a time.
This rage you feel, have you ever been able to control it? Resist it?
I tried. For my mum, I tried for her. Telling the truth made me feel better. For a while.
Don't you think you should seek help? Talk to someone you trust, someone who cares about you.
No. And don't dare speak about me to your colleagues either. Keep your mouth shut tight. Especially about my mum.
Why is your mother protecting you, Seymour?
I'm her son. She's the only one who knows me. Sometimes I think she knows me better than I know myself.
I understand you love her, but can't you see the awful situation you've put her in?
Do you think my mum would have a better life if I were dead? She seems so sad to know me sometimes.
I understand your mother's situation. Obtaining justice at the price of betraying her own flesh. It's quite a dilemma.
It might be my mum's wish that I end up swinging from a hangman's noose. But she wouldn't want to be the one who ties a knot round my neck.
Do you require medical assistance?
That's something I didn't expect to hear again. A doctor concerned with the health of his patients. Yeah.
I don't know which kind of doctor you're used to dealing with, but it's a doctor's purpose to heal people.
And is it your purpose as well, Mr. Reed? I would say it's a convenient way for gaining people's trust.
Goodbye, Mr. Fishburne. Evening, Rufus. Do you need help?
A real doctor caring about me. That's a first. I feel like a real person.
A real doctor treats everyone the same, Rufus.
I don't know what to say. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So long, Rufus. Be careful. Take care.
that clay are true. Otherwise...
Best turn around if I were you. I said stay away, sir! Lead spot! Die, vermin!
"29 Pretty Orchard Street. This is it. What's in there for me? There's been a fight here. This window was shattered with violent force. Someone's been pulled through it and dragged through the street. Who could have done that?
Stop! Right now! You see me? It ain't human!
Hello again, Mr. Blight.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. You doing your rounds as usual?
Do you need medical attention, sir?
Afraid so. In the war, I was always worried about picking up something, getting some infection. Unfortunately, got that fear in London now.
Throughout history, some diseases have done more damage to armies than any weapon created by man. You were wise to be careful.
You're working at the Pembroke Hospital, aren't you? That's a good enough reason for me and Oswald to go there.
Goodbye, Mr. Blight. Take care of yourself.
Hey, Doc.
I'll leave you for now, Mr. Cox. Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Do you need medical help yourself, Nurse?
I'm afraid I've contracted some illness, Dr. Reed.
Not under my watch, Nurse. Take this. You'll feel better.
Thank you, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
It is good to see you again, Jonathan. How are you?
I'm better than one might expect, Lady Ashbury. Dr. Swansea has asked me to investigate the recent disturbances in the hospital, caused by skulls.
Really? What do you mean?
I discovered the most intriguing skull. An elderly woman answering to the name of Old Bridget, and a man who helps them remain hidden in London.
Old Bridget? Peculiar name, I've never heard of her.
According to Old Bridget, skulls can lead a peaceful existence like us. They are even able to nourish themselves by feeding on corpses and the flesh of the dead.
How vile. Please, Jonathan, let's change the subject.
Skulls of London have gone into hiding. Both mortals and immortals plot their extermination.
Yes. Skulls are the orphans of the Vampire Society. They are the shame of their genitors, a disgrace to the vampire that created them.
There is something ominous closing around me, Lady Ashbury. Something spies upon me from the shadows. Something cruel and wicked.
Whatever do you mean, Jonathan?
If Sean Hampton and Harriet were not the guilty parties, then who? I saw the bodies and the blood.
Your rebirth has not gone unnoticed, Jonathan. Be extremely careful. If you get in the way of an immortal's plans...
Do you suspect someone?
I don't know, Jonathan. I steer clear of vampire politics, especially whilst hunters roam the city's streets.
Goodbye for now, my lady.
Jonathan, at last. I've been worried sick. Have you solved the case of our poor Sean Hampton?
Don't worry, Edgar. The reputation of Pembroke Hospital is secure. Sean Hampton was not the guilty party.
Is that true? Oh, good news. Good news indeed.
I found Harriet Jones. She's much the same old, embittered woman she was, only she's been made a skull. Her transformation did not go well.
Incredible. Well, why not bring her here? We could learn so much by studying her condition. It would be fascinating.
I doubt that. She can barely move. Perhaps we could learn more about the degeneration of skulls.
Perhaps. But she could also belong to a new species. We know so little of the laws that dictate vampire reproduction.
Were there any studies made by your order on the subject?
Not that I'm aware of. I will transmit your discovery to the Brotherhood's primate. He will be delighted.
What do you know of the Ascalon Club?
Not as much as I would like. There have always been rumors about a secret society of vampires operating in the interests of the British Empire, though I've never met a member.
I crossed paths with one. A terrifying creature going by the name of Fergal. He was sent by the Ascalon Club to exterminate the Skulls of the East End.
By the stole, Jonathan. If vampires are eliminating their own progeny, then dark times are upon us. Darker than I've ever witnessed.
Do you think Lady Ashbury would know of them?
Jonathan, our beloved lady is not one for social dalliances, nor the assemblies of dark orders. She's a woman of superior taste and selective acquaintance.
Does the name Old Bridget ring any bells?
I've never heard of her. Why? A patient of ours? I must confess, I don't know them all.
No, it's just someone I recently met. A fascinating woman. I had thought that perhaps...
By the stole, Jonathan, you've met another vampire. I would appreciate an introduction, if that's the case.
A pleasure as always, Edgar.
Okay, this would be a point where we stop for today. We made quite some progress. The plot is unraveling and becoming more interesting, I would say. We will continue our playthrough tomorrow evening. Until then, take care.